The Egyptian Economic Development Conference is a very important milestone for Egypt. The future of the Egyptian economy is very important for the stability of Egypt and for its development in all other sectors. And economic problems were part of the uprising in the first place, so they are key. The current government has taken a number of initiatives on the economic side. They grappled with the long subsidy issue, which has long dogged the Egyptian budget, and right before the conference was launched, they announced also a number of investment and other laws and reforms which were long awaited and are very important. The Egyptian economy over the last year has shown encouraging signs of recovery. So I think there's the beginning of an upswing in terms of GDP and trickling back of tourism and investment. But Egypt certainly needs a big boost through this economic conference. The government has identified about $60 billion worth of investment and targets that it wants to achieve over the next several years, not simply from this conference, but that's sort of a large benchmark that the government has set, and any pledges or investment or deals coming out of this conference that move in that direction will be an encouraging sign. So it's a very important milestone. I think the preparations have been good and the signs are promising. Well, Secretary Kerry is leading the U.S. delegation to Sharm El-Sheikh, and that's, I think, an important signal that the U.S. Values or prioritizes the issue of the economy in Egypt, as it should, and that the U.S. also is keen to rebuild its relationships with Egypt over a frayed couple of years because of differences over what happened, particularly in 2013. So that's an encouraging sign. U.S. businesses have long engaged in Egypt. There's a long U.S. Aid relationship with Egypt. It's not major on the economic side, but it's a long-standing relationship. And the U.S. economy, being the largest in the world, can engage very effectively with the Egyptian economy. Also, the presence of Secretary Kerry is a positive signal globally, I think, both public sectors and private sectors. Alongside, or right after the economic summit, there's supposed to be the beginning of a strategic dialogue between Secretary Kerry and Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry. This was announced or agreed upon by Presidents Obama and Sisi in September. After the economic conference, at some point, are to set a date to begin talking about rebuilding the strategic relationship. And it's extremely important for the U.S. to rebuild that historic and very important relationship on the strategic level, both for counterterrorism and regional stability with Egypt. The economy certainly is key to much of what will happen today and tomorrow in Egypt, as it were, but it's not the only track. There is a political track which was sort of defined by the roadmap that was announced in the summer of 2013. That included the step of passing a new constitution, which was done in January 2014, holding presidential elections, which was done, and holding of parliamentary elections. Now, that third step, unfortunately, has been postponed. Those elections were to be held in March, and they have now been postponed. The new date has not been set. This is problematic at two levels. One, certainly, this was supposed to be the key step for re-inclusion of political parties and political representation in the political system. There has been no parliament for the last 2.5 years, so politically that is a setback. On the legal environment, the new constitution says that any laws passed during President Sisi and the previous President Adli Mansour's terms, these were laws that were passed in the absence of a sitting parliament, that any new parliament has to review these laws and either change them or approve them or abrogate them. So having this new parliament is not just politically important, but it's important to stabilize the legal environment that investors will engage with. On the security side, economics has always been key, certainly, the large levels of unemployment and so on. But there might also even be a fight over this particular conference. Opponents of the Sisi government, radical opponents of the government, would like this government to fail and would like this economic conference to fail. Perhaps for that reason, we've seen a stepping up of attacks over the past weeks. One not only on military targets, but also commercial and civilian targets, in hopes maybe that this would, dampen investment and bring this government to its knees. So I think these are all interrelated. The success of the economic conference is key for Egypt, but Egypt also needs to take important political steps to move forward.